Welcome to this new video clip that will focus on the definition of the cloud, which is a term that we often hear in relation to big data. So before we start, I'd just like to make a clear definition of what we call server. You will hear that a lot, servers here, server there. Simply server means computer. If I oversimplify a bit. A server is a computer that is just used to perform computations or processing of data, which means that you don't actually need a screen with it. You don't need a mouse or a keyboard or a sound card. So that's why a server is a computer which is stripped of all these things, and it remains what you see on the slide, which is a very slim computer with just, the mother card on it, the motherboard, to compute stuff. But don't worry, it's just a server, it's just a very simple computer, right? So we'll talk about servers in this presentation. So the cloud, in this slide, I will just give a very simple definition, and I hope you will see that it's it's nothing complicated or technical to worry about. The expression cloud, the term, was made popular when Amazon, which is famous for selling books and products, when Amazon in 2006 launched a service to actually rent servers from Amazon. It was called the Amazon Elastic Compute Cloud, and that might sound a bit intimidating, but the principle is very simple. This service, the Amazon Elastic Compute Cloud, means that you can rent servers that Amazon owns somewhere. So you rent them at a distance, and you do that when you need them for the duration that you choose. So picture that you are sitting in an office in Europe or Asia. You have some complicated computation to do on a big data set, and you don't have the equipment in your office just because your laptop is too small for that, or you need your laptop to work and you can't have the data crunching happening on your laptop while you work. So you would have to run your data intensive computation on a different computer, but you don't have one. So you simply connect to Amazon, click on a very simple interface, and this makes a server available to you. Maybe the server is in Virginia or in Ireland or somewhere, but suddenly this computer, this server somewhere, is dedicated to your needs. You don't need to know where the server actually is, or how big it is, or what brand it is made from, or what are the details of its configuration. You just click and you can use it. So you are given secured access to it with a login and a password, of course. And you use it for as long as you need, and when you're done, you just click and the server shuts down, and you pay for the duration that you used it. So it's called the cloud because it's, from your perspective in your office, it just all happened as if everything was in a cloud somewhere and you ignore exactly the details of the geography or the techniques. From your point of view, you just rented some computation power somewhere, just like as vague as a cloud. So that's it. The cloud is something you rent at a distance. Why is this simple thing popular and important? So I will compare a situation without a cloud service and with the cloud. So let's say you are in this office and you need to yeah, make complicated computations on your customers, which one you know, is the most active in different stores and which products are popular or whatnot. And you know, on an Excel spreadsheet, that would take a long time because maybe you have millions of customers or just thousands of customers, but you have 10 years of history for each of them. So that would take ages on your small laptop. You would need a powerful server for that, and you don't have one. So without the cloud, what you would do? What would you do? You would call your IT, you would ask your IT department to, you know, run these computations. And the IT department would make a market study for, so let's imagine they start from scratch. They have not enough computing power in their offices, so they would have to buy a server. So they have to make a market study for that. They have to get the approval from the finance department for the purchase they are going to make. Then the server has to actually ship to your IT department. They have to install it and configure it, and that's not trivial. Then while the server runs, you know, sometimes, you know, problems happen, so you have to maintain it for security issues or for just technical issues. Then you're done with your job. The server will be useless, or I mean, you will just have this piece of computer in your IT department doing nothing because, you know, maybe you have one data job to run every week, but after you know, for one day every week, but the 6 other days it just stay there. And what happens if the server that you bought is actually too small for the bigger jobs, the bigger data crunching operations that you will need later, right? Then you have to actually buy a bigger server and the whole process starts again. So it's costly, it takes time, and you have to involve many people in the organization to get it running. With a cloud service, let's see how you would do that. Your IT department would just log into Amazon's website or a different provider of cloud computing. They would click on which server they would need. The server would then be immediately, maybe 1 minute, would be made available to them. They launch your job on it, and when the job is over, they click and the server from Amazon somewhere is shut down, and you receive a bill from Amazon for how much time you used it. If for this job or for the next you realize that the server you rented from the cloud is too small, in one click you can make it switch immediately to a bigger one, or sometimes actually it's just automatically done for you. So I insist I take Amazon as an example, but you have many providers of cloud services. So I hope you see how the cloud was really pointed as a major improvement to develop applications, business applications, faster, at a cheaper cost, and with much less organizational complexity. So what we've just seen is an example of computing, computing some operations on data in the cloud. So you call that cloud computing, right? Renting server at a distance to perform some computations that you need. But when you think of it, this principle can be extended to other cases. The first one is using software. The way we usually do it, let's take Microsoft Office. We buy a license and then we get the software. Either we download it, or a couple of years ago you could actually buy it in shops and install it with CD-ROMs or DVDs. But with the cloud, you can actually just rent the software at a distance. So what you do is you just go into Chrome or Internet Explorer or Firefox. You log in to the company that provides the software, and they made the software available to you from within your browser, right? So you never download anything, you never install anything, you just access everything from a distance. So for you, it really decreases the level of complexity, because you never have to really care about how powerful your PCs or your Macs will be powerful in your office, because all the software operations are made at a distance by the company that provides you the software through the web page. So this model is called software as a service, or SaaS. You will hear that a lot, SaaS. It means that the service is not sitting anywhere in your offices. It's everything at a distance, and it's provided to you as a service on a monthly payment basis, often, or yearly basis. Another case is basically the SaaS, software as a service, the SaaS principle, but extended to different areas. So you don't just access a software from a distance, you also access your data at a distance. It means that the data is never stored in your company, in big servers in your IT, in the offices of your IT department. The data is also hosted in warehouses by Amazon or Google or other providers, and you always access your data at a distance with internet. So you access data, software, analytical reports, the payments that your clients make are also hosted at a distance. When you have all of that, you call that the service provided to you is called the platform. So it's called the platform as a service. It means that everything is really delegated to a service provider at a distance, and it really, really diminishes the burden on your IT department, which basically does not deal with all of that anymore. Sometimes the distinction, you will hear a lot about the PaaS model, PaaS, or the SaaS model, and sometimes the distinction between the two is not that clear. So what is a software, what is a platform? It's, there's some ambiguity. A famous example of a company that was providing services as a software that you had to install to a SaaS service is Adobe. Adobe has shifted from a desktop-based software to a software as a service model, and that's they shifted from the Adobe Creative Suite to Adobe Creative Cloud. You don't buy license anymore. You buy for Adobe Creative Cloud. You buy monthly fees or yearly fees, and this is much more profitable for Adobe at many levels. So why is it interesting from a business point of view? I just mentioned some advantages, and I'm gonna repeat them. You have reduced costs because you don't have to manage in-house in your company all these IT services that are really complex from an organizational point of view, that are very costly because sometimes you have all this equipment that you don't use that often, and which is very slow to put in place. So you shift from that to a service on demand and with a price which is really tailored to your use. But I like to insist on the second aspect of how the cloud is interesting from a business perspective. So here, let's think of Amazon, how profitable this model is for them when they provide these servers for you to rent. It's very interesting for them because very often when you provide a service, it's very hard to convince your customers to actually download the service, install it on their machine, and then when you have upgrades, you have a whole upgrade cycle to manage for your customers to adapt their existing product to the upgraded version. You have to manage the fact that some of your customers work on very old PCs, new customers work on Macs in different languages with different software versions. All of this difficulty is completely eliminated when you provide a service in the cloud, because basically your customers install nothing on their computers, so they don't have, you don't care how different their computers are, you know, from Asia to Europe to Americas. You provide a single version of the service and it can be accessed from anywhere in the world. In terms of piracy as well, it's very interesting because since everything stays in your company and the clients access it from a distance, there is no issue of copy and piracy, because the clients never access the software at all. They just access it at a distance without having a copy of it. And it's also very profitable because, as you might have noticed as consumers, when you bill a service on a monthly basis, it's much less painful for the customers than when you ask them for a lifetime license. So instead of billing somebody for $500 for a lifetime license for your software, you just bill them, I don't know, $20 per month, and it's comparatively less painful to pay $20 per month, even if after 3 years use, you will have completely you will have revenues in excess of $500. How popular is this SaaS model? Well, it's very popular. Just let me list the companies that use it. So you have Hootsuite if you want to access social media data, Spotify for music, of course, Netflix for movies, Google Business Apps, still developing slowly but coming strongly for services for corporate companies, Steam for games, Salesforce for CRM, Adobe for art and design, Canvas by Instructure, that's a platform for education that I used actually. And these are all big companies, but I invite you to check, it's in French, but you can translate that maybe. To check Tilki, which is a startup founded in Lyon a couple of years ago, and which is based on the SaaS model. That's it for the cloud. I hope you have understood the basic of this concept, quite easy actually. And I hope this course will help you realize all the potential of using cloud-based services, either as a customer or as a provider of these services. Thank you.